Hey, welcome to Fantasy Football Live. I'm TJ Jefferson here with the fantasy consultant Nathan Zagora. We want to get you guys ready for week 8 by letting you know who to sit. So, Nate, what quarterback should be riding the pine this week?
You know, his brother, very good. He's not so bad either, former Super Bowl champion. But in fantasy football, he's struggling a little bit. Hit a bit of a rough patch. Only 2 touchdowns with 5 picks in his last 2 games. And he's completing less than 50% of his passes during that span. Over the last 5 weeks, he's been under 250 yards 4 times. And he's been under 200 yards 3 times. And I'm talking about Eli Manning. If you can sell him high right now, I would. I think as the season goes on, they're going to be running the football more. And Manning's numbers are going to suffer. This week, tougher matchup for him personally with the Philadelphia Eagles. In his last 4 against Philly, he's averaging 167 yards passing with only 1.25 touchdowns per game. Those aren't great fantasy numbers, so I would sit Eli down this week.
Gotcha. All right. What about running back? What running back should be sitting next to you on the couch?
You know, this guy's a great rookie, but he should take a seat right here next to me, and I'm talking about Sean Marino. Marino going into Baltimore this week. The Ravens very upset coming off their bye. They need a win. They need it bad. The last time a running back came into Baltimore, Cedric Benson, he went for over 100 yards and a touchdown. It's not going to happen again. Marino, he's got Buckhalter in the mix as well, and so that's not good. Buckhalter takes 10-plus touches, and if you're a running back, you need all the touches to have success against the Baltimore Ravens. And frankly, Buckhalter outplayed Marino in their last game. Marino in that game had 19 touches, 44 yards. Buckhalter, 75 total yards on just 14 touches. You got a running back by committee situation here. A bad matchup with Baltimore, who's 7th against the run. So I would sit Sean Marino.
Okay, now, for as happy as I was about your quarterback start, I think I'm going to be equally as unhappy with your wide receiver sit. And who would that be?
Well, you know what? Miles Austin's emerged. He's the number 1. Roy Williams, he is struggling. Tony Romo in the last 2 games has thrown for 662 yards with 5 touchdowns. Roy Williams, the number 1, the guy they traded a first-round pick for, the guy who was supposed to replace Co. Well, he has 1 catch for 16 yards in those 2 games. Granted, he didn't play in one of them, didn't hinder their production. The game he did play didn't hinder their production either, but only 1 catch for 16 yards. He hasn't scored since week 1. He's been under 35 yards without a touchdown in 3 of his last 4. I think he's struggling. He can't get open. He can't catch the ball when he does get open. I would sit him down.
Okay, what about tight end? Which tight end should you take a pass on this week?
You know, Todd Heap's been an excellent fantasy tight end, and I like him, but just not this week against Denver. The Broncos have only given up 3 passing touchdowns on the year, 2nd fewest in the NFL, and they've only allowed 1 passing touchdown to a tight end all season, also 2nd fewest in the NFL.
All right, now which defense would have you searching the waiver wire this week?
You know, if you have the Jets, you like what they did to the Raiders last week, but the weeks before that, they've disappointed against both Miami and Buffalo. Well, this week it's Miami again. I would sit them down. The Wildcat in full effect for the Miami Dolphins. Ronnie Brown running wild. Ricky Williams running wild. I think you're going to want to stay away from the Jets this week because they've lost Chris Jenkins, and that's a big hole in the middle of that line. I think you're going to see the Dolphins exploit that with their running game, so I would sit the Jets down.
And there you have it. Those are our top sits for week 8. For the fantasy consultant Nate Zagora, I'm TJ Jefferson. We'll see you next time on Fantasy Football Live.